Okay, 10.2 Human Transport System. Now we know that in human we have a transport system, and our transport system is called circulatory system. And because it's a system, remember the definition of a system, it is made up of many components. So here our circulatory system is made up of the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. And all these parts will have to work together in order for the whole circulatory system to work properly. So what do our blood contains? Our blood contains red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and all of these cells are then expanded in the plasma to be transported around the body. Now let's take a look at the red blood cell in detail. Now what is the function of red blood cell? The red blood cell is to transport oxygen around our body. Okay, and in order to do that, it has to have a few adaptations. Now one of the adaptation is that it has no nucleus, and because of that it creates a biconcave shape for the red blood cell. Okay, now this biconcave shape actually increases the surface area to volume ratio. Okay, now what's the meaning of that? It means that there's more area for it to carry more oxygen. Okay, to carry more oxygen. Now, in order to carry oxygen, the red blood cell also contains the red pigment called hemoglobin. Right? So that's why it also gives the red blood cell the red color. Now, next, another part of the component of the circulatory system is the heart. Now, the heart is made up of cardiac muscles, right? And the heart muscle helps to pump the blood right around out of the heart so that the heart can be transported around the body. And we must know that the heart has 4 chambers. Okay, as you can see from the picture here, the upper chamber, right, one, okay, the one that I label as 1 is the upper chamber, is called the atrium, and the lower 2 chambers are the ventricles, which I label as 2 here. Okay, now the right chamber, right, which is the blue color here, it will pump the blood to the lungs. Okay, so there's one to the right of the lungs, one to the left lung. Okay, and the left chamber will transport blood, okay, which is the blue color, the red color, sorry, out to other parts of the body. Now let's take a look at the third component of the circulatory system, which is the blood vessels. Now we have 3 kinds of blood vessels. We have the arteries, veins. Now I need you to add another one, which is the capillary. Okay, capillaries. Now what do the blood vessels do? It helps to transport the blood throughout the body. All right, the blood vessels, it does that. So over here we have the artery, the vein, and the capillary. Now the arteries, okay, if you notice, it is thick wall. All right, the wall of the artery is pretty thick. All right, it has a thick wall, thick muscular wall, as compared to the veins. Right, the veins, the wall is very thin. Right, thin muscular wall. Right, now the reason why arteries have thick muscular wall, because arteries need to transport blood, okay, away from the heart. Okay, so it comes from the heart, so the blood that comes out from the heart is always at high pressure, so that's why it's very thick wall. Okay, and arteries will finally branch into smaller vessels called capillaries. Right, so over here the capillary, and the capillaries are found in between the body tissues. All right, in between body tissues, And it is through the capillaries that you have the food and oxygen passing from the blood to the cells, and the carbon dioxide and other waste substances will pass from the cells to the capillaries to be transported back to the heart. Okay, let's take a look at the type of circulation we have in our body. Okay, blood flows in two paths, right, in our body. It flows first from the heart to the lungs, back to the heart, and this is called pulmonary circulation. Alright, so over here, alright, as you can see from the diagram, we have from the heart, right, blood will then flow to the lungs. From the lungs, it goes back to the heart again. Okay, so this is called pulmonary circulation. Now, why is it very important to have this pulmonary circulation? It is through pulmonary circulation that we have oxygen, right, from the air will then diffuse into the blood, right, to be transported to other parts of the body, and carbon dioxide will then also be removed from the body through this circulation. Another kind of circulation is called the systemic circulation, right, where the blood, after going through the lungs, after it goes back to the heart, it will again go to other parts of the body, right, and from the other parts of the body go back to the heart. Okay, so this is called systemic circulation, and the idea is to transport the blood to all parts of the body, and the blood will also return back to the heart. And the blood that returns back to the heart is deoxygenated. Now let's take a look at how diffusion takes place between the body cells and the blood capillaries. So over here we have a picture of the capillary, right, which is found in the blood, in the body tissue. So all these brown circular shapes are the body cells. Okay, as you can see, the blood that comes in from the artery, right, which finally split into the capillaries are red color, which means that it carries oxygen. Okay, blood rich in oxygen. And then finally, as it goes through the body tissue, the blood would have lost the oxygen to the body cells, and the blood that returns back to the blood vessels and finally to the veins without oxygen. So that's why it's pale blue color. Okay, so if you look at the picture here in detail, right, so here are the body cells, okay, and here is the blood cell, okay, in the capillary. So as blood goes through the capillary, okay, you can see right, oxygen and dissolved food substances, example glucose, amino acids, will move from the blood into the cells by diffusion. Okay, right, and at the same time, right, we also have carbon dioxide and waste products will be moved from the cells into the blood to be carried to the veins and return back to the heart.